Hey, Slater Crusaders. So I want to take a couple minutes here and talk about the New York Times drama. I think this is really important. Obviously, things are moving fast. There's going to be a million other examples like this, but this is an important one to know and relate back to and tell our kids and grandkids about. So here's the background. Tom Cotton, Republican senator from Arkansas, wrote this editorial. He did not write the headline here. The New York Times wrote the headline, but the headline is, Tom Cotton, send in the troops. The nation must restore order. The military stands ready. And it's a completely sensible op-ed about the history of the military being used to stop riots. From Washington in 1794 with the Whiskey Rebellion. Did we end up talking about that? I don't know if we did talk about that. If not, if we haven't, we will. So Washington, 1974, and the Whiskey Rebellion, all the way to Dwight Eisenhower and JFK and LBJ, HW in 1992 in LA. So the history of that happening. Tom Cotton talked about how the majority of people support using the military today to do this. So this is a majority opinion, whether you agree with it or not, this is a majority opinion. And the New York Times writers, they went loco. One of the writers, this is actually this is the head of their 1619 project. It's the Pulitzer Prize winning 1619 project. She said, as a black woman, as a journalist, as an American, I am deeply ashamed that we ran this. I'm deeply ashamed. I saw this tweet from one person, and I thought it was just the one New York Times writer who wrote it, but apparently a bunch of people wrote it. Like it was like a weird cultish response where a lot of New York Times writers tweeted the same tweet. And the tweet was, running this op-ed puts all black people in danger, including New York Times staff members. You're in danger because this op-ed ran. You're in danger. What does that mean? How can you be in danger? What is this? What's going on? I haven't heard anyone argue against it, by the way. Just people calling it dangerous. And again, I think I mentioned in the last segment that New York Times recently has published pieces from the president of Turkey and Putin and the Taliban and Hamas and Maduro, but Tom Cotton is too far. This is Barry Weiss. So Barry Weiss, she's a writer at the New York Times, but a very sensible person. Here's what she said. She said, the civil war inside the New York Times is between the mostly young wokes and the mostly 40-plus liberals. It's the same one raging inside other publications and companies across the country. The dynamic is always the same. The old guard lives by a set of principles we can broadly call civil libertarianism. They assumed they shared the worldview with the young people they hired, who called themselves liberals and progressives, but it was an incorrect assumption. The new guard has a different worldview, one articulated best by John Haidt and Greg Lukianoff. We'll talk about that in a second. They call it safetyism, in which the right of people to feel emotionally and psychologically safe trumps what were previously considered core liberal values like free speech. Perhaps the cleanest example of this dynamic was in 2018 when David Remnick, he's the head of the Times, under tremendous public pressure from his staffers, disinvited Steve Bannon from appearing on stage at the New Yorker Ideas Festival. But there's dozens and dozens of examples. I've been mocked by many people over the last few years for writing about the campus culture wars. They told me it was a sideshow. But this is why it always mattered. The people who graduated from those campuses would rise to power inside key institutions and transform them. So just like on my radio show over the years, we've talked a lot about restorative justice in our schools, K through 12 schools, and what a disaster and how ridiculous that is. So we'll have time to do that here one of these days. But just like K through 12 restorative justice is leaving schools and now into the real world, again, with people wanting to abolish the police. Same thing, we're seeing all the, campus crybabies, all like the whining and just the silencing of freedom of speech that we've been documenting for years now on college campuses. These people now have jobs in real places of influence, and they're using those same shaming techniques to shut down the adults, who many of them let them in. Slater Crusaders, thanks for watching the first on YouTube. If you want more, like, subscribe, we got plenty.